Now to continuing coverage on red tide in St. Joe Bay. Local charter captains say it's killing fish and much of their business. News Channel 7's Isabella Benhumea is digging into the issue. Today she spoke with a researcher specializing in red tide.
An anomaly. That's how Florida fish and wildlife experts are describing this year's red tide in the Panhandle.
Typically, blooms start in Southwest Florida. And so the fact that this bloom has started in Northwest Florida, that in itself is a little bit unusual.
Fish and Wildlife Research Institute Administrator Dr. Kate Hubbard says it is not common for red tide to start and stay so contained in Northwest Florida.
This is an anomalous bloom that we just need to track carefully and kind of see what happens next.
Port St. Joe Charter Captain Chris Lent says he's concerned.
There are other places to fish, but you know that can't happen for an extended period of time. You know, we need St. Joe Bay.
Boat captains tell me that they have seen the effects of red tide all across the 17-mile-long St. Joe Bay. And for the first time in years, they've had to go to waters outside of Gulf County to fish.
Dr. Hubbard says this year's red tide has been localized to St. Joe Bay and parts of St. Andrews Bay, and it has lasted several months. The main reason for it, Dr. Hubbard says it's the ocean circulation or lack thereof.
We often will see a red tide event that kind of expands and contracts and moves around a lot with the currents. And while I can't say for sure, it may be that the ocean circulation with respect to St. Joseph Bay and the county, it may be that there's retentive circulation. And so rather than having that expansion and contraction, which can make the bloom seem as if it's changing more over time, it may be really kind of not changing as much over time and just hanging around in this one localized location.
Dr. Hubbard says it's hard to say why that is happening, but it is why this year's red tide seems worse than previous years.
What concerns me is, you know, the timing of this red tide. I wonder what the population is going to look like come springtime. I'm very, very concerned that we may not have a speckled trout fishery left.
The FWC has been tracking red tide closely through satellite technology and robotic sampling. In Gulf County, Isabella Benhumea, News Channel 7.
Researchers say red tide usually lasts through early winter, but Dr. Hubbard is unsure how long this event will last because of how rare it is. We'll be right back with a look at your first alert forecast.